privating it.
No, God, no.
Yeah,
Hello,
there you go.
everyone. Welcome to our discussion of Harry Potter and the Philosopher. Not Sorcerer, Philosopher Stone. Everyone, all the Americans in the room, come on, say it with me. Exactly, go fuck
Philosopher.
myself.
Philosophers.
Fuck you all. So,
Damn, son.
I would like to
I am
welcome.
proud to be an American.
I rather
I would
like
like to
the
welcome to the
Philosopher's Stone
stream
better anyway.
Barb, Princess Rennie, Bubba, Miss Martin, and a special guest, Common Sake. So we're all Harry Potter fans, well, except for Farv, who's just here for the
I know
puppet.
of it, but I'm not exactly.
He's the control group.
The
He's
control.
There
here
you
to cause
go.
trouble. Let's be honest. He's here to cause trouble.
Okay, so me and Bubba were watching it last night, before Bubba got distracted with working, so I watched it today. But there's something I really noticed about the movie, especially early on.
Hmm.
Later on where it says, "Hey, Jet Sparks."
It says that
Hey,
in the movie?
no, hold on. Saying hello to Jet Sparks. So see if the fires were the blurred.
Hello.
Okay, so you know the way that later on they tell Harry that he's protected by wizards, right?
Mhm.
I forget the name of the elderly woman, the squib who lives next door. Now, early on, there's an elderly woman who has the exact same hairstyle as her with an elderly man. The cars, the lawns and the cars and everything is identical for the next three houses going along. I think that the Dursley neighbors have actually been like wizards all along. That basically they're surrounded by wizards.
Well, yes and no. So in the books, there is a squib that's planted there on purpose by
Yes.
Dumbledore. That's part of the reason why he brings Harry to that neighborhood. So I know that that's a thing, but I mean, I guess it could be kind of like a fan theory, so to speak, but that's not necessarily confirmed in the books, but it's it's an interesting thought.
It's my theory. Also, my second theory is that the sorry, Lily, what Evans, that Mr. and Mrs. Evans are squibs,
Wait,
right?
Lily Evans was Harry Potter's mom, right? Before she was
And I'm
married
talking,
to.
and I'm talking her parents,
Oh, okay.
because if you remember in the lighthouse, okay,
Mhm.
that Aunt Petunia said, "Mother was so delighted, so happy. We've got a witch in the family." That's to me sounds like somebody who knew what a witch was.
Yeah, and it
Right?
could be like she could have like friends or family members that were like, "Oh, blah blah blah," and then she gets like the inside info and like, "Oh, yay, we've got one." I mean, you never know, but you could be right. They could have been squibs. They never tell you.
They never tell us.
I think Hermione's family had the same reaction though, and
Correct.
she's
That-
completely a mudblood. So
She is
That's
completely
true.
above blood, but we don't know because retroactively, right? In like JK's writings that have come out,
Hmm.
basically there's another Granger, a wizard who's a Granger who lived a while ago. We don't know did he have kids or what's going on, but they're talking and they're like, oh yeah, maybe they're related because they share the name Granger. But then again, in the UK, sorry, it's the 12th of July. If you know, you know. It's actually there's a lot of Grangers around. Like,
Sammy had a question.
oh, do Hermione's parents remember her after the Deathly Hallows? Would anyone? Would the bookies like
in
to take it away?
they don't in the book. I don't remember in the movie.
Well, I never read The Cursed Child because I wasn't into the whole Voldemort and Bellatrix kid thing, so I don't know.
That's
It could
a
have
safe play.
specified there. Yeah.
Okay, so
Rowling kind of did talk about it because remember she did that tour after the show, rather after the last book was out, and that was when
Yes.
she revealed Dumbledore is gay. I think that she had talked about it then because I remember that she went back and gave her memories
basically,
back.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
her
Cool.
parents went to Australia, and Hermione ended up going to Australia
Ouch,
and returning
Sammy.
their memories. There. The Cursed Child was the equivalent of Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't count any of the post interview. I made it up after the point. I just count the stuff that's actually in the books.
Well, but she's the
Yeah,
author,
me too.
so I count what she says. So
Yeah.
I don't know if the author says that this is what her intent was, then I'm
Yeah.
gonna be inclined to believe her.
So talking about
Intent is fine, but as far as like in the books, do her parents remember her? And no, in the books, her parents
No,
don't.
but
her parents did not remember in the books or in any of the movies, because the obliviation spell that we see in the movies is much more extensive than what they do in the books. Because in the books it's just they forget the charms, but at the same time, if I'm correct, don't their faces change?
in the
Books.
movies, or
No, in the books.
her parents, like she may have put like what was that
Oh.
curse that she can do to make them like?
Imperious?
No, there's like a curse or something that you can, or like a charm that you can do that kind of like makes somebody
confund
harder
us?
to. Yeah, well, no, that's to confuse them, but
Oh.
like to make them seem differently perceived, and I can't remember what it's called. I thought that was something in the book, but I don't remember if she cast that on her
Well,
parents.
But to
I'd like to
clarify,
file a complaint here. I studied up on the first one. I didn't study up on the seventh one.
Oh.
Yeah,
Sammy
sorry
should-
about that.
okay,
Sammy should have
but
to wait until we get that far.
Yeah.
But just to clarify, it was during that tour that she did reveal that her intent was that Hermione eventually did reconnect with her parents.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so back to the first movie, hence the name. What did you guys think of the movie, and what did you prefer from the books over what was missing and everything like that? So just chill out to the board and whoever wants to go first.
So I watched the movie last night and I read the book this morning.
Yes.
And I have never I've never done them quite so close together. And I was really, I mean, I always joke about the book is always better, but man, it really is in this case. There are so many relationship scenes that they cut from the movie and they put in other scenes that just don't add anything.
Yeah.
Like the scene with the ghost that goes absolutely nowhere and means nothing to the movie, and a bunch of jokes that don't go anywhere and mean absolutely nothing. We don't really have any idea why Harry trusts Hagrid so much or why he hates Malfoy so much, because they skip all of those scenes that are in the book.
Yeah,
there
I
wasn't a
like-
lot of that character development. Absolutely wasn't there.
But
Yeah.
but taking the movie at face value, just
Mhm.
pretending the book or pretending you don't know anything about the book, one could surmise that Harry doesn't know he remembers Hagrid, but somewhere deep down he might still feel safe with the man that ushered him, away from danger when he was a baby. That's
this
just
is
my
very true.
thing. But more importantly, he would have trusted a giant man-eating crocodile if it got him away from the Dursleys in that lighthouse.
Maybe
That's true, but there's no reason for him to hate Malfoy as much as he does. In the book, he has about 4 interactions that build up the animosity between Harry
That's
and
very
Malfoy
true.
Now,
before
well,
they become
coming from a
before they become
standpoint of
enemies.
other books, obviously, I understand exactly where
Yes.
comments is coming from, because it's like they added stuff into the movie that, like she said, doesn't really serve much purpose, and in doing so, they cut out actual character
So-
development.
well, I don't know. You guys, this is my personal take on it, and I may be alone in this, but I feel like the first movie is the closest one to the book, in my personal
Absolutely.
opinion. When you read, when you watch the movie, then you read the books, or you, let's say you do a movie marathon and then read the books, because that's kind of how I've done it. I just find the first one closest. So yeah, there's a couple things left out, but it doesn't ruin it for me. It doesn't upset me. I
Yeah.
feel like, there are some things that you can't necessarily translate on the screen that maybe translate well in the book. Like, and not to get off kilter, but in a book further down the road, the whole howler that Dumbledore sends. In the book, you have no idea who sends the howler. But in the movie, it's obvious, right? Or,
Yes.
but they changed it in the movie as well. But so it doesn't translate the same. So there are some things that didn't necessarily translate. I think there's a scene, I want to say it could be the first, it could be the second book, where they talk about they play with the giant squid from the Black Lake. I don't care. I don't need to see
That's it.
that. That's not a big deal. No big loss.
So,
So
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I don't
go after
object
you.
to I don't object to changes from the movie to the book. I mean, they're necessary.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
relationship building is a very concrete, necessary part to any story.
That's what I
And
have to agree with, actually.
Well,
But
by
on the
the by
same
the
token,
by the end of the movie, the bond between the three of them is so much less tight and less understandable than it is in the book. There are other things like Hermione is much less. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. So Snape is much meaner in the book. Hermione is much less of a snot, and Ron and Harry are actually much meaner to her much more frequently before the three of them become friends. And they
Yeah.
don't just go to warn. They don't just go to warn her about the troll. They lock the troll in the bathroom with her by accident.
yeah.
So
So,
there's like
here's
they feel
something.
far more responsible than just oops, like
Yeah.
we insulted her and she was in there crying.
Yeah, but I
Um,
still
but
don't think that it kills like the whole relationship building. I feel
it
like
doesn't. It
yes,
doesn't
it's
kill it.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't kill
yeah.
it. It's just
but
not as strong.
it diminishes it.
I don't
Yeah.
feel that way.
but I mean, they only had X amount of time to tell an entire book's worth of continuity.
I think it's
And
why the series might actually be kind of a better way to go. But I'm going to show you some that's going to piss you off. I just need to delete a meme, okay? Delete
boy.
this.
Well, while he's getting that set up, I just want to say I frankly thought that the first movie was magnificent. I thought it did a
Oh,
great
it
job.
was.
It
I
did a great
agree.
job the world building that they established is still ingrained in our popular culture, and it
Yeah.
is
and,
Harry
and
Potter.
I miss
I
Richard
agree.
Harris so much.
So,
He was the perfect Dumbledore because when you read all of the books, Dumbledore is nurturing. He is sweet. That's Peeves.
yeah.
He
They recorded
is
it.
amazing.
Oh yeah, they
Man,
actually-
he would have been great.
So
Hmm.
what happened with
Hmm.
Peeves was the actor was like, okay, no, I'm an all-in kind of actor. I'm here till the end. Right?
Alright.
But he went terminal.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he's like, no, I can't do it. So out of respect for him who was going to pass away, but they didn't know how long. And they didn't add Peeves into the movie. So they recorded it. Okay, I'm going to tell you one thing that gave me a nitpick. Okay?
All right.
The Bloody Baron, his clothes are wrong.
You
The
didn't like
bloody-
that they made him into like a pirate looking guy?
No. Okay, so let me explain.
Okay.
Helena Ravenclaw, that's the right name, right?
Mhm.
She was killed circa 1000 AD. Let's just say, give or take 50 years. Okay?
Mhm.
Now, the pirate's clothes that he is wearing are 17th century clothes.
Mhm.
He's wearing the wrong clothes. The dress that the Grey Lady is wearing is from the 1500s. She again is wearing the wrong clothes. That's always been a bit of a nitpick to me.
Oh, you're one of those. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Well, the
Why,
part that really struck me from the first movie, though, is
yeah.
when you see Snape looking at Harry. And now that we know what we know, that the actor Alan Rickman was the only one who had been told previously about what the relationship was with Lily and all of that. So when he's just staring at her and all that, and Harry's like, "Oh, what's up with him? You know, he's creepy. He's looking at me." Is that he was seeing Lily's eyes, and at the same
Yeah.
time, of course, seeing.
And one of the things from
That's
the
a
movie that I
lovely
really
sentiment. I love that you
Yeah.
brought that up.
Mhm.
And one of the things that kind of bringing up what happens later in the movie is whenever he's talking to Quirrell, right? Snape. We have him in the Great Hall, and Harry's like touches his scar, and it's like, "What's up with that? What's up with Snape?" But if you look at the scene, the turban is facing Harry. Voldemort is looking directly at Harry.
Well, that's not
Then-
really fair because he's covered up.
And
He's only seeing Harry through the turban.
Okay, on a quick side note, because I wasn't able to say it a minute ago. Would it not stand to reason that the wizarding world, even now, their clothes, like in modern times, look different than what Muggle clothing does? So, would you not think that maybe perhaps set trends that the Muggles didn't catch on to for another couple of centuries? I mean, their clothes might be absolutely correct.
No, the technology.
I gotta disagree with you, man. They have magic.
There you go.
But I'm talking about real world. She's wearing a Phoenician dress.
A Phoenician dress. That's. Yeah, I'm just saying it works.
Maybe she got sick of wearing the same old shit every day, and she wanted a change of clothes.
Listen,
She went
just because
to-
you feel like that, don't mean every woman would.
Maybe she went to
okay?
Ghost Apparel R Us. So you don't know, and maybe she got a new dress.
Mhm.
So, in the movie, one of the things that I like is Vernon, knowing what we know, how much he actually knows afterwards, and how he feels. Then there's a fan theory going around that the reason why the Dursleys were so awful to Harry all the years was the Horcrux within Harry. What do you think?
Well, wait.
What was it that you just said? Yeah.
That they were so awful because they were being affected by the Horcrux that was in Harry.
Yeah.
So who was awful?
The
The
Dursleys.
Dursleys.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe
I don't think so. That's
I kind
extra
of always
book,
got the
though.
notion that they were just kind of terrible.
They
I
were.
have I have a shrink background, so I think it's a lot more basic than that.
We're going to love you.
Well, and Professor McGonagall said they were awful long before they ever received Harry.
Yeah.
So-
and the
Yeah.
motivation had been or established in the final book that Lily was Petunia was so jealous and so bitter
Yes.
about being rejected, and that we know that people are not beyond punishing children for their own
Mhm.
problems. And of course, they just were awful, and in a way they had seen what the wizarding world had done. Like, remember, there was a small little moment with Petunia where she's like, they blew up my sister. She had said, I always knew it was bad news. And one could argue that they were correct. But sometimes people are just evil and rotten people.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
also true.
Yeah.
Comments. I'm
Well-
kind of curious what you were going to say about that.
And then we'll go to Bubba.
Yeah, because Bubba
Yeah.
keeps trying to talk.
Well, do Bubba first then.
Okay, Bubba, would you like to go first? And
Oh.
then we'll go over to
Okay, so this is going to be a very, very, very unpopular opinion, but you got to think about this from Uncle Vernon's perspective. This is a man who is, the human equivalent of a grumpy hobbit. Like, everything about him is normal. Everything he does normal to the letter. He wants, he's not even trying to social climb. He wants the people above his station to see him as normal, people below his station to see him as normal, and anything that is out of the ordinary. So he gets married to this woman, has a child with this woman, and then finds out a year after his own son is born, that suddenly they're being told that they need to take care of his wife's weird magical baby nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Petunia definitely had a lot of bitterness because she was bitter towards Lily and bitter towards the rejection, not
Well,
being
here's-
a witch herself, But
When I
the
look
fact of the
at
matter is that, oh, go ahead.
I say when I look at it from that perspective, all I can see is that what he would want is to just keep him hidden away and out of the sight of the general public and people he knew. But I think all the mistreatment was still deriving from Petunia.
Well,
That
and
is-
they do.
Yeah, see, but the unpopular part of my opinion here, Uncle Vernon, everybody has that relative that tells you, you would be perfect if I could just fix you. Uncle Vernon, in his weird, angry way, does love Harry. That's what nobody wants to hear this, but you notice he tries to fix Harry constantly. He wants to keep Harry away from that stuff, and Harry, God bless him, tries so hard to be how Uncle Vernon is raising him to be, and it never works because Harry's got magical, everything, weird things keep happening around him, and it frustrates Vernon because Vernon wants to hammer Harry into a normal society, into a normal life. And if Harry had never gotten that letter to Hogwarts, if everything had just gone normal and Harry had never had any magical aptitude, I could definitely see, Dudley would not have been the one to take care of his parents. It would have been Harry taking care of Uncle Vernon and Petunia in their old age.
I'm not sure the kid would have survived that long in that circumstance.
But that's the thing. If he had not had any magical aptitude, the weird stuff wouldn't have happened, and he would have just had a normal, mundane life. They would have been grumpy about him, growing up, but then eventually he would have went off. He would have lived a mediocre life that Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia would have taken full credit for, and they wouldn't have hated him anymore.
But hold up, I'm looking at just the general way he was treated. Never mind the magic shit. I just don't think the kid
would have made it
mentally, emotionally have survived years of that shit.
Oh, he would have needed lots of therapy, definitely. He did, as it stood, he needed lots of therapy.
Yeah. So, comments, what did you want to say?
Well, first of all, in order to touch on that, if it hadn't been for the magic stuff, if he'd just been able to fit in with the Dursleys, we have no idea how they would have treated him. It was the weird, odd things that kept messing up their life that made them angry.
Yeah.
The other thing is that Dudley is kind of, the one that is the spoiled brat, but Petunia sees herself as having been abandoned by her parents in favor of her sister. And so everything she does is about trying to overcorrect in the other direction for her son.
Yes,
absolutely. Everything about her life, yes, she's neglectful of Harry, but it's because she's so hyper-focused on, and we see that in the real world, people who had, who were latchkey kids or felt abandoned as children become helicopter parents and overcorrect and raise spoiled brats.
I'll ask you a weird question.
In the modern day.
This brings up a weird question. Okay. If not squibs, because we knew that the snakes lived close to where Lily lived as a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if the Evans then, instead of them being squibs, what if the Evans knew that Sirius was a wizard?
You said Snape. Did
right?
you mean Snape?
Yeah,
or...
Severus.
There you go.
That Severus was hey, it's the Lord of the Rings problem, right? That Severus was a wizard. Therefore, Mr. and Mrs. Evans were like, "Oh my god, like these kids with powers." And then when they actually had one that had powers, they were like, "Finally, we have one. We're so jealous. Like we finally got one." And Petunia wanted to be that special.
Yeah. Well, no, that
So, Lily was their equivalent of keeping up with the Joneses?
Yeah.
But I do want to say though, they do really focus on the books about Petunia and Vernon being very big on how they're perceived by the neighbors, by his colleagues, everyone, their friends. They are embarrassed to have
Yeah,
Harry under their roof. Like they're terrified that he's going to do something that's going to make them look like freaks. And I think that that is a big part of why
yeah,
they treat him like they treat him. Yes, Petunia was jealous, but they're also very like, oh, we can't have this freak making us look like freaks. You know, that's why they keep him under the stairs, or they kept him under the
yeah.
stairs for the longest time so they could just lock
So
him up, you know,
just moving.
and
Even
Yeah,
when the
sorry.
letters start, even when the letters start to come, they're they don't want the wizards to see them as bad people, so they move him in the book. At least they move him into one of the bedrooms because they
Yeah,
want the wizards to see them as good people.
that shows up in the second movie. And that he's actually put into a bedroom. But one of my favorite
Or
scenes that I absolutely love this. When the wand chooses the wizard.
yes, that is
See,
an awesome scene.
that's what I love about this movie is it brought to life magic. It was kind of like what they did with the Superman one, you'll believe a man can fly. This is like you
Yeah,
will believe in magic.
I'm still waiting for my
I
letter.
agree.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
of course, thank you
you
for
know-
bringing up. I miss John Hurt as much as I miss Richard Harris.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
an amazing cast. I mean, they've got the
They're-
best of the best in this movie, in all of
They
the
do.
movies, the actors and the high quality actors, but the score as well. What John Williams accomplished with this is one of his iconic scores, and it just gives me chills just even thinking about that scene. And the first time you see Hogwarts and you hear that theme like really swelling, and it's just giving me
One
chills.
thing,
And before we move on, though, I want to say, give a shout out to my favorite line when Dursley's going, we'll go where they won't find us. And Dudley's like, Daddy's gone mad, hasn't he?
And then she's like, no, don't say that.
And I'm just thinking, that is such a family moment. Isn't there ever been a moment where dad's flipping out or doing something, whether it's a football match that went wrong or something? It's like, Dad's mad, isn't he?
So, yeah, and what they had in the books that they never had in the movie is that they actually had to bring Dursley to the hospital to get the tail removed.
Dudley.
Yeah,
Dudley.
you see, I had a problem with that. I thought that was needlessly cruel on the fact of Hagrid. I mean, that was awful. That was a terrible thing to do to a young child.
But he was being a pig and eating Harry's birthday cake, and Harry never gets a birthday cake. So I was like,
Well, no,
get
but
him.
yeah, like you said, they put him in the hospital for crying out loud.
So I have a weird question for you, right? Well, not a weird
Abuse.
question, but just one for later on. You know when Harry's reading the list of what he needs before he has to head to platform 9 3/4, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that Hagrid operated?
Oh,
Because remember, he's standing there and he turns and Hagrid's gone, right? Do you think he operated?
I don't know if he's capable of doing that because don't they talk about in the books how his magic capabilities are very limited?
Right.
See, yeah, I thought
Yeah.
he was like almost completely
But
like
at the
bereft
same-
of magic at that point.
It's not bereft. His wand is broken. But go ahead, Bubba.
But talking about Hagrid, you're talking about how cruel it was him giving Dudley the tail. The fact of the matter is we don't really know if Hagrid actually meant to give him a tail because he does have a broken wand inside of an umbrella. But two, the fact of the matter is that yes, but we need to remember Hagrid lost he never knew his mother, lost his father at a young age. Dumbledore has been his surrogate father for a very long time, and he has been literally perceived as a criminal and living more with animals than with people. He's not perfect, and doing we get we get mad at Aunt Petunia for taking out her frustrations on Harry. Hagrid literally did the same thing to Dudley. It comes from the same place. Hagrid's just a much more likable character and a much nicer character, so we're able to forgive him for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hagrid in the books is much. I mean, he gives up the secret of Fluffy because he's drunk. He's drunk
Oof.
several times in the
Mhm.
book, and he does not. He doesn't give Dudley the tail in the book because he's eating Harry's cake. He gives it to him because he's mad at the dad, and he knows that's the best way to
Yeah.
get back at him.
Yep.
What I mean by is he
Exactly.
has a broken wand is we know that Dumbledore has the Elder Wand, right?
Mhm.
And that wand is the only one capable of repairing wands. Now,
Mhm.
if it was broken, we saw in the second book how dangerous a broken wand is, right?
Mhm.
Hagrid's limited magic does not backfire or explode. I think that actually not Voldemort, that Dumbledore fixed the wand
Well, and he could
and
have,
put
but
it
I still don't think that Hagrid is capable of apparating without splinching.
the reason why I say that, right, is Hagrid was part of the DA, Dumbledore, the first DA, the Order of the Phoenix, right?
Mhm.
He, who's to say that some of them, because we know how important operation actually is for them, how often they have to use operation, right, to get in, get out, for what they needed to do. Hagrid would have had to know operation, how to operate. He would have had to have known that.
It might
I
just be as
just
simple as the fact that okay, now I'm trying to separate book and movie. Hagrid says that he was given the ability and the right to do more magic than he normally could in order to get Harry and to get the package.
Yeah,
Mm.
but I'm just talking about him completely disappearing and being gone.
see,
Right,
so
but
I
he may have been given something because he had to get back.
They may have granted
that's the
him
thing.
the ability in temporary to get things done that he needed to and
So
come
could
back.
it be then that someone used some sort of a spell basically to summon him?
I thought maybe that's what happened, like Dumbledore brought him back, or he gave him a port key to get back to Hogwarts quickly.
The
Mm.
rock may have been a port key. Because
I mean,
remember,
you
he
never know.
touched it.
Could
Yeah,
be.
what he's like just before he left, he patted his pocket and his hand was on his chest when he was leaving. That could have been a port key that made it go woo and away.
Yeah, because I have a hard time believing he's capable of that because it's not just because of the fact that his wand was quote unquote broken. He's just not as practiced. And I don't think
Yeah.
he was capable of apparating because you saw what happened to Ron in the sixth or seventh book whenever he splinches. So
Seven.
Well,
I
and
don't see it.
and at the end of the sixth book, after the attack on Hogwarts, he had to ask Harry what the Aguamente, what the spell for water was to put out the or no, that was the
That
sixth
was
book
Harry.
to
Yeah.
well,
So
he had to ask
another
Harry.
thing
Yeah,
in the movie. This I love nope. Wrong bloody thing.
Oh, well, I love
Wait,
that too.
wrong
okay.
slide.
Green Gods.
Yeah. Green Gots. I love one. I absolutely love Green Gots. I thought it was a picture of the Soren hat, but I
Mhm.
love this whole Soren hat ceremony. But Green Gots is absolutely fascinating. You can see the way that they hate each other, but the fact that they actually have like wizards have a bank, they have a currency system. It's more real, like which means. Because it'd be funny. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, don't mind me, guys. I have to go and have to deposit my knuts into the bank to get out some gallons. Oh, yeah, I know. Ah, guys, I missed it. It's closed on a Sunday. You get me?
Mhm.
But the whole scene just before, and he's like, okay, you're all able to eat. After they walked in, it was really magical when I was a kid.
Mm.
This is the scene that made me fall in love with Harry Potter. The movie franchise, not the person.
Yes,
No, I got you.
yes, but you and I both know. We all know that there is zero way that this has to be a work of fiction because in real life there would be 8 kids on the table trying to grab the candlesticks that are floating.
Mm.
Yes, and that's why the top of the table is empty. They're like, get out your stupid now. But so what they do
This
in
was
the
one.
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say, this was one of the little tiny touches that they changed, and I didn't understand why. When Dumbledore says in the movie, "Let the feast begin," in the book, he just says a couple of nonsense words, and Harry says, "Is he a little mad?" And Ron says, "Absolutely. Here, would you like some chicken?" And it just,
Mhm.
like,
So the reason for that is because those were his words to the elves from the kitchens,
Mm-hmm.
right, to get the food up, which meant that they would have had to add in the spew, the house elves, and in the movies they didn't have time to do that. So they would have just had to remove everything to do with all the house elves, which is a travesty. But the
but they
house elves,
didn't. There are no house elves in the first
no,
book. The
but
No,
feast
that
Well,
but
occurs in the
but
same way.
but I would like to bring up though that you talk earlier we talked about relationship building and everything. One thing that Richard Harris, and I have nothing against Michael Gambon and his performance, he did very, very well given, after the death of Richard Harris. But in the first movie, not even talking about the Chamber of Secrets, only in the Sorcerer's Stone, the they do a good job when Harry opens the chocolate frog and he gets the Dumbledore card, and Ron's like, I got like 6 of him, and I did a very good job of portraying that to the rest of the wizarding world, Dumbledore is a superstar. He's an old hero, an urban legend. He is the wizard world champion. That people look to for guidance. But to Harry, he becomes like an old great uncle or grandpa. And
yeah.
it's and I feel like they did a really good job of portraying that just in that first movie alone.
So in the first movie, Neville gets his remember all, right? And he's like, "Oh, I got to remember all, but I forgot some. I just wish I knew what I forgot." I'm going to show you a picture of him,
Hmm.
right? And see, do you know what Neville forgot? Anyone notice anything?
Yeah, he's not wearing his robes.
Yep, that's what I forgot. I have a feeling with Neville that orb would be red the whole time.
Yeah.
They
makes
they
sense.
No.
also forgot to put him in a ton of scenes that, because they emphasized the three of them throughout the movies a lot, but Neville is actually in a lot of their adventures in the books, which makes his presence later
Greater.
in the books much more important. Like, he
So,
makes a lot more mistakes. The guy who keeps blowing himself up, that's Neville in the books. He
yeah.
ends up in the nurse's office
Yeah.
repeatedly. His growth arc is so important in the books, and it's just ignored through the
Oh,
whole.
it is. Like, this scene where Hermione, like, freezes him.
Mm-hmm. Petrifies him.
Like, yeah. I was saying it for the muggles in the audience, okay?
Wow.
Where, yeah, so where she petrifies him in this scene. Um, it's like, yeah, he's standing up, but like what you were saying about the books, it's kind of more impactful. With more scenes, like you get why, and Hermione is actually kind of cold in the books. She's kind of like, especially later on, kind of psychotic.
But
Well,
by
he's
that time, by that time, they don't have time. They are on a time clock, and they can either deal with Neville to the fullest, to that end conclusion, or she can get him out of the way, and they can go do what they need to do. It was nothing
Right.
against Neville; they just had to get it done.
Yeah.
well, but he says, you guys are going out again. You're going to get us in trouble again. But
Mhm.
they haven't gotten them in trouble repeatedly like they did in the books. It's another point where they skipped so many scenes that it just doesn't
Yeah.
make as much sense. And again, it's not that I mind missing stuff. It's that they added stuff in or left stuff in that didn't need to be there, and took
Well,
out all of this stuff that was so, like, vital for a
crucial.
foundation.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like, so I watched the movies before I read the books, and that's how I got into reading the books. And I actually actually worked in retail when the books came out, and I was like, "What is this horseshit
I'm so
about?" Right? Because
sorry.
I didn't read it. And so when the movies started coming out, and I watched them, I was like, "Wow, this is pretty good stuff." So I got the inference that this was not the first time that they had done this. Whenever they talked to Neville, but I guess it just depends on the perception of the person that watches it. But I did get that
Yeah.
inference, like this is not the
Yeah.
first time that they've gotten Gryffindor in trouble, and
So
Neville's about sick of it.
Well,
Well, and they had
Hey.
they had at least gotten into the Dark
Yeah.
Forest. They had lost a bunch of points from Gryffindor, so we know there is at least some basic context. Just like with the Malfoy thing,
yeah.
he still showed up and still insulted Ron, who had just become Harry's new best friend, and talked down to people like he was better than them. So I mean, that we have a reason why he hates Malfoy. We don't have it all, but we do have the bare essentials.
Yeah. But
What
Miss
were you
Martin,
going
you
to
were
say,
saying?
Teresa?
Oh,
sorry.
well, that's what I was going to say. They had actually established that they had just gotten in huge trouble when they snuck out and lost like 50 points each. So
Mhm.
for me, they had established that point in the book,
Yeah.
in the movies. And he was like,
Mhm.
"No, you are not going to lose us even more points." Because that was huge.
after
'cause
the
that
troll
was that.
attack. They lost 150 points, and then they got like 10 points each. They
Well, no,
lost
they
a lot
lost.
of points.
Oh, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say they didn't lose a lot of points at that point for the troll. They actually got some points. They didn't, but it was a Black Forest one, or Black Forest.
Mhm.
Rather, it was when they snuck out to that one time
Yeah.
to
To
Hagrid's,
Hagrid's.
rather. Yeah, that got them hugely in trouble, and they lost all those points. So, I mean, I'm just saying that as a movie first-time owner, there was point A to point B in many of those. So, like, when he
Oh
was like,
yeah.
"You're not going to get us in trouble again," it's like, well, yeah, they just lost all those points.
So
Mhm.
And, but, I feel like later, I think mainly it started right after the fourth one, especially. That's when they really went off the rails, in my humble opinion. But that was when they got their
the
new
fourth
writer,
movie was
Agreed.
their new director.
the fourth movie was kind of boring compared to the rest.
I will
Yeah.
say my least favorite adaptation of book is number 5. I was
So
really looking forward to Hogwarts getting turned into a swamp, and that did not happen.
so I'm going to ask everyone one question. Okay, what's
Mm.
everyone's wand?
Oh, gee.
Mine, I don't remember the consistency, but I remember it had a phoenix feather in it.
Okay, dork.
I don't remember the
Wow.
wood or but I do remember it
Yeah,
had the
but if you
phoenix
could
feather. I was
come
like,
up with your
yes.
own one, then let's say you could come up with your own one. What would you make a wand with? I stick in a farce. What are you coming back with?
I'm taking the elder wand.
I
I mean,
You
if
mean
I
the
can
one
have
that?
whatever wand I want the most powerful wand in the world. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Marv, what about you?
Me? Oh, don't ask me, man. I don't remember
Okay,
enough
Bubba.
about it.
Okay, first of all, Favre, you've got a Glock, and your signature spell is Papas Kappas.
I hate
But,
fucking blocks. You're off the mark on that one.
Yeah, well, so is the Glock. So anyway, but no,
Whoa, whoa there, friend.
yeah,
I have a Glock.
Age-
For
It's
legal
awesome.
reasons, we do not stand behind any of these statements. For personal reasons, yes, we do.
Anyway, aged birchwood with a bison bone core.
Okay, Miss Martin.
Well, I was never really into the wands, but Rennie took mine. Yeah, I want the elder one. Screw the
I'm
rest of the world.
sorry.
Yeah, we can
That's
share
not
it.
my wand. Stop taking my wand. You can. I told you. You
Yeah,
can't.
there is a whole fable about people taking that wand.
We can have
Yeah, there we
a
are.
joint custody, Teresa.
Yeah, there we go. We can just keep
Comments,
arguing
what
over
about
it. We can wrestle over it every now and then.
Hey, comments like, what's your wand?
I have no idea. I never even took the sorting house thing. I mean, let's be honest. I would end up with Hagrid's job because I just want all the animals.
Oh,
Actually, you probably, by the sounds of it, you probably end up in care of magical creatures.
Hmm.
Well, me, I'd end up in Azkaban because Favre was with us when we were playing, or we were sent up to play Hogwarts
Mhm.
Legacy, and I am when I said, "Oh, I unlocked the killing curses and everything like that," and when Favre was playing on his channel, we were talking about it, and all I kept commenting was war crimes.
I was gonna say, I think you would go to Azkaban for promoting pineapple on pizza so much. Just saying.
Oh,
Oh.
jeez.
No, I'd go to
Awesome.
Azkaban because when you go to your office, you like where you work in the ministry, you'd walk in and the whole place is just full of pineapple pizzas.
Oh God.
I'm
Should
just
It's
be.
horrible. It'd be some weird thing with me. My wand would end up being a flintlock or something.
So talking about funny stuff, no, one of the things that's so the at the end of the movie, like when he's going to fight Quirrell, right
Hmm.
after he gets past Fluffy, I believe, and I was saying this to Bubba, that Dumbledore set up the key, the potions, and the chess piece to test them. That was Dumbledore's test for the kids because it was like skill level appropriate to them, and it was each of their skills. Hermione with potions, Harry with Quidditch, and Ron with wizarding chess.
Well,
Which, by the way, seems fucking awesome.
but they said in the books that's not the case. Like Snape set
No,
up
I'm
the
not talking in the
potions.
books. I'm talking in
Okay.
the movie.
Well,
Hmm.
it does not compute, sir.
Oh wow.
Well, yeah, but Miss Martin,
Well,
what
the
do you
whole
think of
point
that?
is that Hermione is a lot more clever than wizards and witches her age, and Ron is a lot quicker on his feet than most kids
Hmm.
that are first year because he's the youngest boy of all those boys. So I mean, it stands to reason. And of course, Harry's got different reasons, different skills that
Yeah,
bring him to the table. That they were all three well above what first year should have been able to accomplish anyway.
absolutely. Miss Martin, what do you think? That
Well, about your theory there,
yeah,
I think that's good headcanon. I just think it is some aspects of both the books and the movies, if you will, that a lot of things are awfully convenient the way they
they
all
are.
kind of. So that's how I just saw it. Is that
I
they
mean,
were? It's a kid's book after all, and so if
Hmm.
you're
I
trying to look
know.
at it the way she wrote it, you're the first ones when you're about 11 and 12, and that it matures with each one. So it was just cute. That was my impression.
No, absolutely.
Hmm.
And so one of the scenes that was left out, that in context at the end of the film is actually quite funny. That the Golden Trio used to throw snowballs at Quirrell, and they used to throw it at the back of his turban, which means that one of the reasons why Voldemort is so pissed off at Harry is that he used to throw snowballs at his face.
Alrighty.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I feel like that was just a snowballing reason. Like he had lots of reasons to hate Harry by that time.
Oh.
Yeah.
The whole
No,
backfire magic thing. But that
it was
brings up
mainly. Go ahead.
what you were saying earlier about how often there was a misdirect, and if you look carefully at what Quirrell's doing after
Yeah,
you've seen the movie the first time, you go back and look at it, you can see, oh, there's Quirrell being evil. Oh, this is where it looks like Snape's being mean to Quirrell, but it's actually kind of the other way around. Or you see Quirrell doing weird stuff, but
yeah.
they use a sleight of hand, and I think that was very clever the way they showed it in the movie.
It
I'm
was
glad you
like
brought that up because I did that as well on second watch. I was like, oh, see, Snape's just holding Quirrell accountable for, trying to pull some shit. So
Mhm.
it's interesting. And even you can see him casting that spell that made like Harry's broom go all crazy during
Mhm.
Quidditch.
yeah.
So that was pretty
Both of them are
cool.
muttering.
Yeah.
Like, and so I have to ask, do you think that Voldemort was muttering as well? That Snape was actually going against two wizards instead of one?
I think Voldemort gave Quirrell the spell, but he was too weak to cast it. So
Yeah.
Quirrell did it. Yeah.
Let's all blame Quirrell, of course. It's the ball.
Yeah, I don't think Voldemort could have actually mustered a spit at that point.
Well, Voldemort was wasn't he like, no, that's Lord of the Rings. I was going to say Less Than a Shadow.
Oh my God, no, you did not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, not until he came back in the fourth movie book was he
Yeah.
actually able to, because everything else, it was his Horcrux in the second one. The third one, he
was.
didn't really come up at all.
So,
That's right.
is there an explanation as to why Harry's touch killed him?
Yes.
Killed Quirrell? What? Go ahead, because I never figured that out.
Teresa, you sounded like you wanted to say.
Oh, well, yeah. It was the love, the power of
The
love.
old magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was the old magic from Lily and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, Lily sacrificing herself, like, put this protective barrier on Harry, so to speak.
So, Common, as
If I remember correctly, we don't find that out until like 2 books later.
No, you
But,
find out in this book.
No, it's
Common,
it's right in.
as the book lover, would you like to
20
tell the
years
difference
since I've read it.
between the book battle in the dungeon versus the movie?
Harry's losing.
Thank you.
Harry is rescued by Dumbledore. That's the only reason he lives.
Yeah.
Which I think makes Voldemort a scary, terrifying figure more effectively through the rest of the series too, because if he just dies because Harry touches him or loses his form because Harry touches him in the first book, it kind of loses something.
Yeah,
I
Harry's fending him off, but the pain it's causing him is actually doing as much damage to him as it is to Quirrell until Dumbledore shows up.
Yep.
Yeah. I saw a hilarious edit, and like it was there, and it was like edit number 1. It's like that Harry was touching Quirrell, and he's like, "Oh my God, you got cooties now!" Right? Like, don't touch me. That's why. And then the second one, you know where they cut away for half a second, like to look at the stone. All you just hear is, "Oh my God, my balls!"
Okay.
That's why he turned to dust. But yeah. So in the sorting ceremony, what they don't actually say is that as soon as you get sorted, you become a secret keeper. Right? That the sorting ceremony is actually underneath like the same thing that Harry's like the oh sorry, it's late. That it's the same reason for that Sirius was under, right? And that Wormtail was. Which brings me to another part. I run on tangents. That basically, as soon as you put that on, you can't tell what the sorting ceremony is. So with all the wizards who've gone to Hogwarts in its history, that's why nobody knows what the sorting ceremony is.
Nah, that's a stretch, my friend.
No, that's actually a fact.
Where did you see this or read this?
JK
I've never
came
heard
out
this
with
before.
it after the fact.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I remember her saying a lot of stuff. I don't remember her saying that, but I'll have to take a look into that because.
So here's something else. Remember what one was? Ron. There's an R in that word.
Ron or
was,
one? No, just kidding.
No.
Okay, they're one. So
one.
Ron was trying to make Scabbards yellow, right? And the boy, Freddy and Georgery, had given him a spell to turn this fat rat yellow. But it didn't work because he's not a rat.
Well,
he's a furry.
I mean, he is a rat, so to speak, because he did rat out
he's a
Lily
furry.
and James.
Well, yes, but I always assumed that the spell was just Fred and George hazing Ron because he was
That's
their little
what I
brother.
think too. Because
Yeah,
Fred
they
and
could just
John,
mess
Put a
with it.
question in
Fred and George played a
in
lot
the
of
chat,
jokes.
okay? Okay.
I desperately want a pack of those filibuster fireworks.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. They
So
did such a good job, like making their own like business and stuff later. That was so cool.
yeah, who actually Harry is the reason why they have that business. So
Because he
guys,
gave them
so
money.
everyone, yeah,
Hmm.
everyone in the that is a question and answer and the Q&A. Yes.
But something that I really love about that is that Harry gave them the capital to start their own business after they left Hogwarts. They end up making just as much money, if not more, when everybody knows that the Dark Wizards are about, because people are going in there and buying things for protection,
Yes.
charms and stuff that'll protect from low level spells. So in a way, Harry Potter, even by proxy, is still protecting the entire wizarding world, even if he didn't see it that way at the time.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask everyone in the chat to vote, and then I'm going to ask the panel the same question. Right? Is Wormtail a furry? Sorry.
My immediate question is, why is this relevant?
Because it's
Hey.
me, Farv.
Are you like down with furries or something? I mean,
That weirdly enough, most of my friend group turned out to be furries. I don't know. I'm scared. I need a hug.
I would say
Okay.
no. I think
Excuse me,
he's
I was
just-
born with this fetish. I don't do it as a fetish.
Oh
Oh,
my god! I think
wow.
he's just a coward, and I think he stayed as
Oh,
a
he's
rat
an
as a
outright
coward.
coward.
Yeah.
So proper question for the panel. Out of the first movie, right? Is there anywhere in the first movie that you would like to go other than Hogwarts, of course, right? Like, is there anywhere that you go, or some from the first movie that you would be like, oh, I'd like to try that?
I want to go to the Owlry.
Wait, but isn't that on Hogwarts?
No, it's in
I meant Hogwarts.
Diagon
The
It's
castle.
in Diagon Alley.
Oh.
Okay. Because
Okay,
Hogwarts has an
I-
owlry as well.
I
Where
want
he
to play. I want to
his
play
owl.
with the flute powder.
Oh, jeez.
I would like
I
to
want
go.
to. I want to go like all down, back and forth through Diagon Alley, just going through all the fireplaces. It'd be awesome.
So
See,
apparently the chat thinks no, he's not a furry. But go ahead.
I would like to go to the train station, and I forget what it's called, but it's very famous.
King's Cross.
King's Cross. Thank you. I would like to check out that
That
place. 'cause it
exists.
is a
You and the
landmark.
hobby can actually go on
That's what I'm
vacation there.
saying. So
However-
since it's
however,
actually
they
feasible
actually-
to go there, I would like to.
They
actually have,
during the summer and fall, they have to post a guard to keep people from running into the bricks between platforms 9 and 10. That's
Yeah.
not a joke.
No,
That's
they
amazing.
actually have on the pillar platforms 9, platform 10, and in the middle there's a plaque that says platforms 9 and 3/4. With a little thing underneath it says, "Here's the pillar from the Harry Potter movie."
Mm-hmm.
Far, what about you? Is there anywhere that you'd be like, "Oh, I'd like to go"? The pub?
God, that's so mean.
He's not wrong.
He can talk to the shrunken heads.
Probably Neofio.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh man, because outside of the school, I can't remember too many of the places.
Like Diagon Alley, the pub.
I
A
mean,
shrinking shack.
the pub be for a few different reasons, but
Well, yeah. Dude, you'd go to the pub and you'd come out with something that's like, one, I got drunk on Wizarding beer, too. I bought this 12-legged cat.
no,
Its
I
name
don't
is
think
Betty.
so. I don't think that's going to happen.
Although Harv would be who I would choose to go with me if I wanted to go to the pub in Nocturne Alley.
Why not me? No. I'd want to bring Rennie to Nocturne Alley just to see her getting really annoyed at someone.
Oh God.
Yeah, but then I'd wind up like killing an evil person or something and going to jail.
No, I think you'd be rewarded if you killed someone in
Justice.
Nocturne Alley. You'd probably collect a bounty.
Oh,
So,
Well, did
Okay,
you ask
so-
Teresa?
yeah, Teresa, where would you like to go?
The Leaky Cauldron, hands down, that'd be awesome. Just sit there and just
The Leaky Cauldron that's in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you were saying?
Well, it's not unlike there's a pub, in
Yeah.
Cork City, which is the oldest pub there. It's in the 1600s that I've gone to, which is very much like that. And you just sit in there. It's got candlelight, and you can have a Guinness. I guess I don't know
Oh,
if they have Guinness at the Leaky Cauldron, but I'm just saying that I've
I'd say
actually
a
been in
beer.
a Leaky Cauldron. Sorry.
I'd say probably be like an alcoholic butterbeer, given how much the Wizarding World actually wants to stay away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, Mutton Lane Inn, I don't know if you've ever been there in Cork City off of St. Patrick
no.
Street, but it's so awesome to experience that. So to me, that's the way the Leaky
Have
Cauldron felt.
you ever been to the Ginger Man's in Waterford?
You know, we didn't really spend a lot of time in Waterford. My folks did,
Jealous?
but I
No.
did not. Yeah, we were too jealous. Yes, but
I
no.
know.
But
I know.
so,
One didn't even
so
touch
when
the
I
equation
saw
and
that
you
in
get it.
Harry Potter, I'm like,
Uh,
oh my gosh, it's the Mutton Lane Inn. It's something like that. So I would definitely want to hang out in that old medieval pub.
oh yeah.
Hmm.
So okay, so we're after hitting the time limit, right? Farv, we're going to go Farv. We're going to then go down to comments and end with Bubba. If that direction makes sense. Okay, Farv, would
Okay.
you like to share your stuff? By the way, we're also live on Twitter. Hello, everyone over there.
Didn't even realize
So
that.
oh yeah, I now have the ability to do that.
Oh,
Yay
well, okay
me!
then.
So would you like to share your stuff?
Yeah. So as it says there, I'm the author of a book called the Favithia Chronicle. It's the first book in a fantasy series I'm working on. I'm presently wrapping up the last chapter of the second book before
Oh, lovely.
I hit final edit and send it to the copyright office and all that good shit. So it's a few months out before it's completely finished, but it's getting close. The first book is on Amazon, literally just the Farvithia Chronicle. I also run a channel called Farvithian Guard, which is a gaming and occasionally topic discussion channel my brother and I run. So you check that out too.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah, guys, please go and check out his book. Go check out absolutely everything. Go subscribe to him. He is absolutely a fantastic guy, and I swear to God, you will come out learning at least 15 swears you never knew existed.
Okay.
Yeah, and at least 12 weird animal sounds. It's actually quite
Hey,
good.
hey.
I know. So, Ranny?
Yeah, you guys can typically find me on Sundays on Mr. Brown Alliance is channel, as well as sometimes we do movie reviews. Trying to get Brown back into that. We'll see. In the past, I've been on this channel as well as
Yep.
Ms. Martin Muses. So, for those of you guys that don't know Teresa, we did a lot of book streams on her channel. So if you're into reading fantasy books like J.R.R. Tolkien and the such, you will see both of us there. Sorry, Teresa.
Yeah.
And that's all I got.
Awesome. Comments?
Thank you very much for the invite tonight, by the way.
Always.
You can find me on YouTube at For the Sake of the Comments. I only have a few things up there. YouTube hates my taste in movies and therefore tends to copyright most things. So
Is that what the problem's been?
Most of my stuff tends to end up on Rumble, where it gets completely ignored. But you can find, I did a Chinatown review not that long ago that's up, and in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be putting out a review on underappreciated 90s television. I expect that to be done. I actually had a date I was planning on getting that out. The 25th is my goal. Every other Friday, I usually am on Inside All Day podcast. We're discussing Carnival. Normally that would have been tonight, but there was illness, so I got to be here instead.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I will be on Two Hoes with Dark Hour and the Uninspired Reviewer discussing Pulp Fiction.
Oh, yay.
And yeah, that was kind of a last minute. He's like, Cynic had to drop out. Can you fill in for me? I was like, sure, I'm mass watching movies and reading books all day today anyway.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's I'm kind
Thank you
of
so much.
I'm the space filler inner these days, and I
Oh.
recently I have also been I found a niche editing scripts for people recently, which has been a lot of fun. So
Oh, okay.
Lovely, brilliant. Miss Martin, would you like to talk about your channel?
Well, sure. You can find me here on Miss Smart Muses, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. I have right now a lot of House of the Dragon content because it's on and what I'm interested in. So tomorrow I'm probably going to be doing a live stream tomorrow, Sunday, about George R. R. Martin's
Yeah.
latest not a blog, and then
Mm.
also more videos that have to do with the Fire and Blood book as compared to what you're seeing in the TV show. And of course, more pub crawl will eventually be crawling across the screen. And if you can like Tolkien or other fantasy books or cooking or anything, I talk about all of that. So if you wouldn't mind giving me a subscribe, that'd be great.
Always, please, everyone, please go and check her out here and on Twitter. Everyone over in the Twitter land. Hi, please go check these guys out. They're all on Twitter. Everyone by their names, so I'm just going to highlight them before we end up with the awesome Pirate Lord Bubba. So please go check out Farv. That's how you spell his name, for Vivian, on Twitter. Then you have Princess Rennie over on Twitter. Then you have Common Sake over on Twitter, same name. And Miss Martin Muses over on Twitter. So guys, please, everyone over in Twitterland, please go and check all of them out. Yeah, and then Fire Lord Bubba, would you like to take us away?
Alas, earwax. Anyway,
Yes.
so
What?
I am. Yes, I
Not every flavored beans.
yeah, I am Geek Hero Bubba, and to this day, I still want to know if Ron knows what slug flavored Birdie Bots every flavored beans taste like, and he still bring back terrible memories.
Yes, he does.
Oof.
Anyway,
Ugh.
but yeah, no, right now, the best, you can find me over on X, formerly known as Twitter. They are indeed changing their URL. So calling them Twitter will actually be incorrect moving forward. But
It's actually
anyway,
already changed.
oh, fair enough. But anyway, yes, right now, you can see me over there. I'm Geek Hero Bud. You can see me argue and geek out and argue. That's what I do. I show up on other people's channels. I eventually, in the future, will have my own channel. I will do that which Bubba does, and hopefully it entertains people. But everyone have a good, wonderful weekend, and remember that Gryffindor is the best.
Just before we wrap
Yes.
it up, on that weird mental illness note, because Slytherin is the best.
No, it's
Guys,
not.
please go
Don't
and
lie.
check out. Please go and check out my friend, the oldest gamer. He does a lot of Fortnite stuff. Over on Twitter, he's going to be starting a YouTube channel. But please, go check him out. Give him a subscribe. Please make sure you subscribe to me over on YouTube at Potato Revan. Just hit me up, look me up over there. Okay, so we had 5 votes on the question: is Wormtail a furry? Right?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what?
Wow.
R.I.P. your channel.
20% of the voters said yes, while a massive 80% of the voters said no.
I
that
think
he
the
is
one
not a
vote was
furry.
you. You're the one that said yes. Don't lie.
I can't vote on my own vote. Hey, Agenda Outlaw says he is a
Adega.
furry. Yeah, Adega Outlaw says he is a furry. So on that note, I am going to wrap up. Good night, God bless, and everyone stay awesome.